Oh, no. Here we go. Here we go. The library is in the house. Let's get crazy.
It is time.
Have those sentences ever been said together? The library is in the house.
Have
Let's
you
get
ever
crazy.
been to a library conference?
Well, this is true.
Librarians get crazy.
Librarians can get crazy.
Staying out till like 9 o'clock and stuff, probably.
Yeah, it's like 9 o'clock. And,
Just you wait. There's...
sometimes not wearing our most comfortable shoes.
Oh,
Little craziness going on there.
Talk loudly once in a while, probably,
I know.
too. Yeah.
And sometimes I leave my sweater at home.
Watch
you
out.
never know what's going to happen.
You were probably so cold without
I
that.
am, and I'm complaining the whole time.
No librarian sweater. Okay.
Without that cardigan or without that sweater. Well, we are in the house. We are excited to be here this morning. As always, it's always a gift to be here, Mark. What a beautiful day in the WDLR
indeed.
neighborhood.
Oh, thank you. That's warm. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. We have a guest with us this morning, Mr. Erinn Nicley. Good morning, Erinn.
Good morning. Nice to have you. Be with you.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. This is now your second time joining us on this show. Is it just the second time?
It is.
Yes. And what are we going to talk about the second half of the show?
We are going to be talking about a public speaker series we hold up in Delaware, Ohio, called Great Decisions.
This is a good one.
I love this one every year.
The library has been involved with the Great Decisions series a lot over the course of the years, and I feel like it just keeps getting better.
I can't argue with that. So we've been doing this for 40 years, and the library has been such an incredible supporter. So I want to thank all of you for that, for all of the work you've done to help promote this for us every year.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we'll get more into that the second half of the show. You won't want to miss out. It is a fun topic. But as we always do, we're going to talk a little bit about books to get started. Molly, have you read a book?
I got a good one. I got a good one today.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so this is a book by the author Kevin Wilson, who has written one of my favorite short books ever.
Nothing to See Here?
Nothing to See Here.
It's the greatest book.
So Kevin just has a really great way to tell stories. And I mean, he locked me in for personal reasons, but this is a book for everyone. So this story starts on a farm in Tennessee. Madeline Hill, who goes by the name of Mad, has been on this farm with her mother for years. She is world renowned for her farming skills. She likes her life just as it is. On the farm growing things. Mm-hmm. Her dad left them when she was real little. She hasn't seen him since, always wondered what happened. When one day, while she's on the farm, this PT Cruiser drives down the road. The PT Cruiser is a character, believe it or not. It really becomes a personality in this. It's not talking. This is not fantasy or realism. It just becomes part of the character here. And out of this car comes a guy who introduces himself as Rube. Mm-hmm. Rube, also known as Reuben Hill, given the nickname Rube by his dad, says to Mad, "I'm your brother. And just so you know, I hired a private detective, and there are at least 4 more of us." So Mad and Rube's dad would fall in love, have a kid, and live a life. When Rube knew him, though, he was an author who knew nothing about farming at all. He wrote book after book after book. When he left Rube's family and started Mad's family, he was a farmer who didn't even read to Mad's knowledge. And the first sibling they're going to pick up is a basketball player who also may have some real connections to her dad's career. Now, as this book progresses, none of the kids really knew their dad. They have memories from being young children, but their dad would call their moms on their mom's birthdays every year.
Oh.
Never spoke to the kids, though.
Right.
So it's a road trip story. This is one about, especially Mad and Rube getting to know each other, but all the other siblings as this moves on. Of course, everybody gets younger. Rube is the oldest, and they get younger as they move on. But it is the story of lives lived very differently, but the strange things that seem to connect these characters. If you liked Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson, you're going to love Run for the Hills. It is absolutely, it's an easy read. It's a quick read. I really he does read books that are like 6-7 hour listens, not too many pages. I think this would make a superb book club book because of all the topics these kids bring into this discussion. And also, what in the world causes a man to do this? You're just, you don't meet the dad, but he's this major character, like he's sitting in the car with him.
Aw.
This is so
Yeah.
much fun. Where they end up, the kind of wacky things. Kevin's known for wacky small details
Yes.
along the way. The wacky things happening, the characters. And of course, I was drawn in because my dad's nickname was Rube. And
Yeah.
you just don't see that much. So I pictured a young version of my dad on this car trip the whole time.
That sounds like a great recommendation. I love Kevin Wilson. I love Nothing to See Here. It's in my top
Yes.
5 favorite books of all time. So I think that would be a great continuation of
It's
his.
not a comedy, but it's uplifting
Yeah.
as you go throughout it. So if you struggle with this seasonal, ick, where
Yuck.
it's icky outside all the time, this was a really good one. This one kind of, as the trip goes further, I kind of was working through what they were gaining along the way.
Nice. Well, that's a great
I
recommendation.
really enjoyed it.
Good. I'm glad you did. I enjoyed my book this week, too. I can't wait to talk about it. But we'll go to Erinn first. Erinn,
Okay.
what's something that you've read that you'd like to tell our listeners about?
I have a couple things, actually. 2 books you cannot get more different between these two. The first is one I read a couple months ago named Tom's Lake, which is this beautiful, just peaceful book about life in this family, multi-generational story of the families in the Traverse City cherry farms. You can picture these just red and green fields and talking about the history of this family. It was a beautiful book. I loved it. And then from there, I switched over to a book that was a very famous book from 1984 called Neuromancer.
Ooh.
Which is a book written by a man named William Gibson, and it's this dystopian, very dark, bleak kind of book about the future. It takes place in the late 21st century, and it is this prescient book that introduces, from 1984, themes of artificial intelligence and the internet and like kind of mass online environments, and it's this really kind of dark kind of espionage.
I love a good
thriller
dystopian.
kind of a book.
I love it.
Which one were you more in the mood for, this reading between the two? Or were you excited to jump back into both of them?
They are so different from one another that it is kind of an emotional whiplash, but I'm enjoying both of them. But I loved Tom Lake. I would definitely recommend Tom Lake.
Tom Lake, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yes, that's an Ann Patchett story.
Yes.
Yes.
I've heard of both and heard wonderful reviews from both of those. But you got 2 I haven't read, so add them to my list.
Right.
All right, I'll consider that a win.
Yes.
I think that's a good call. My book this week is Heartwood by Amity Grace. Heartwood was just discussed by our friends of the library in their personal book club. So if you're a member of the Friends of the Library and you are a reader, and I assume you probably would be if you're a member of the Friends of the Library, they met this past week and they had a great discussion about Heartwood. This story is it was nominated for a reader's favorite mystery thriller for the Goodreads Choice Award in 2025. It's a fun story. I listened to it on audiobook, told from multiple voices, and it has alternating chapters that take you into a hunt for a woman who has gotten lost on the Appalachian Trail. So, yeah, ringing a bell.
No, but I'm going to want to read it. I love Appalachian Trail books.
Yeah, this is a nice one. You've probably heard me say that I really do not like Wild, but I really do like this book.
I agree. I like Bill Bryson.
Yes.
I like my favorite
Grandma's
Grandma
Walk.
Gatewood's Walk's my favorite of all time.
Yep.
But I also did not get into Wild.
No, I did not like Wild, but I do like this book. And so here's what's happening. In the heart of the Maine woods, we have a young woman, Valerie, who has decided that she is going to go on a hike. It's 2021. She's been a nurse and she's pretty burnt out from COVID, and she just is like, it's time I take a break. And so she does what's called like a flip-flop hike, where she starts midway in the trail and goes north, and then she would continue. She would start at the bottom of the trail and then go back up to the midway.
Nice.
So that's a strategy that you can do that. She has a husband. Her husband is meeting her along the way. He's not going on the hike with her. That's not his style. Also, he wasn't really invited. Yeah. She's like, I kind of need to do this by myself. But he is like, I will meet you at checkpoints. And so he meets her at checkpoints. He helps her restock. And if she needs a night in a cabin or something other than her tent in the middle of the woods, then he helps her with that. A day comes that there's a checkpoint that he's supposed to meet her, and she's not there. And so he, is kind of like, well, she could be late. She could have decided to stay stay on site, stay on a camp.
Yeah.
But she still will need supplies, so I still should see her in the next 24 hours. And he doesn't. So they alert the authorities. We bring in the Maine wardens who oversee all of the wildlife in Maine and all of the people and trails and everything like that. And they begin conducting the search. And what we find in this multiple voices story is Valerie is journaling while she is lost in the wilderness. So we are hearing from her directly through her journal entries. We're hearing through Lieutenant Bev, who is the Maine warden, who is really getting the volunteers and the forces together to find Valerie. But then we're also hearing from a woman who is a little bit further away. She's a bird watcher in a Connecticut retirement community. She's wheelchair bound, and she's a 76-year-old woman. And she kind of becomes an unexpected armchair detective. Her name is Lena. And so we also hear from Lena, and Lena following along with this case and deep diving on the Reddit threads and really leaning into all of the armchair detectives.
Is Lena making this a cozy mystery?
Well, it's not quite. It's
okay.
It's still a modern, contemporary story. You're just kind of like, why are we hearing from Lena? Like why is she? Why are we learning about her dives on the Reddit threads? And so you kind of wonder, like, is this going to be how we're going to crack this case? Is the internet really going to solve the case for us?
You're not going to tell us, are you?
I'm not going to tell you, because this is a great one. It is, like I said, it is for the Goodreads Choice Award, in the mystery thriller category. I honestly wouldn't categorize it as either of those. It has a good tempo. It moves steadily, but not... I wasn't gasping for air at the end of a chapter. I really fell in love with all of the characters. You realize why they're all doing what they're doing. And you do want to figure it out. You do hope you get to that resolution at the end, but not in the way that you would with like a, really cozy mystery or really kind of like mystery thriller.
So I got to ask you, you said this has multiple voices, and last week you really told us how much you did not like those multiple voices.
I didn't like the graphic aspect of it. Yeah. So what I didn't like last week is that, it took the sound effects a little bit too far. It took the there's a genre, if you didn't listen last week, called graphic audiobooks, and it's where, I talk about, walking in the woods, and then there's a sound effect in my ear that is the crunching of your feet on the leaves. And I talk about the rain, and then there's a sound effect of rain pitter-pattering, in the canopy of the forest.
So what do you rate this multiple voice cast?
This one is 10 out of 10.
Excellent.
Because it didn't have any extra sound effects. I don't need those sound effects. My brain can make those happen anyway. But the different voices were nice, because when Lieutenant Bev started speaking, as opposed to when Valerie or Lena started speaking, I knew who was talking, and I kind of settled into like, okay, here we are with Bev. Okay, here we are with Lena. And so that was that. I think that is how a multi-ensemble audiobook should be, in my own personal snobbish opinion, if I may, for a moment.
Kind of like a radio show. You can't voice me.
No, exactly. We would know if it wasn't Molly.
We could try that one day.
Oh, Mark, you up for it?
AI, who knows?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Anything is possible.
Or make you sound like your favorite little character, the crazy woman from Harry Potter.
Moni
Myrtle.
Yeah.
Myrtle.
We'll have you, Moni
Nobody
Myrtle.
likes her. Nobody'd want to listen to her.
Oh, dear.
She's
we could
so
do that.
sad.
We'll get Moaning Myrtle on with us next
Okay.
week. But so that's Heartwood by Amity Gage. I highly recommend it. And and if you are interested in talking about books with other people who like talking about books, I would recommend joining any one of the library's book clubs
Absolutely.
or any of our friends' book clubs as well.
And they all have a different personality.
They
So
do.
if one isn't your fit, try another one before you give up on them.
Absolutely. So we'll take a break, and on the other half, we'll be back with Erinn Nicley, and we'll be talking about the Great Decisions Discussion Series, and so you won't want to miss out. Stay tuned.
Back to Off the Shelf on my 96.7. I got it off the shelf, man.
Oh my
did.
goodness. We're so happy to be here today because we're talking about great decisions. And great decisions isn't just a thing that you can do every day when you wake up in the morning and brush your teeth.
Yeah.
It's actually something that you can do every week beginning March 6th. And we're here with Erinn Nicley, and we're talking about the Great Decisions discussion series. So, Erinn, tell us a little bit about the series.
Good morning, everyone. I would love to. So, the Great Decisions discussion series is a nationwide program. It's been sponsored by a New York-based organization called the Foreign Policy Association. And imagine all over the country these small community groups of people that come together to discuss some of the major global topics of the day. Things like nuclear proliferation, Trump foreign policy, tariffs, human rights, multilateral organizations, things that matter to us, not just nationally, but locally in our own daily lives. And so we come together every spring for about 8 weeks, following a set of essays that the Foreign Policy Association produces for us. And we invite guest speakers to come in, local scholars, local experts on these topics. And they present the information to us, and then we have a very civil, nonpartisan discussion each of those weeks.
I think that's a great point to emphasize, because a lot of these, these by nature are hot topics. They, bring up discussion and points of view. And so what Great Decisions is doing with this discussion series in the Foreign Policy Association is it's getting people to talk about it.
Exactly. And especially in these very troubled times, one of the things I have found that people are so desperate to have thoughtful, meaningful discussion that isn't driven by partisanship and politics. And that is really our go-to, is the idea we're here to have dialogue, not debate, conversation, not confrontation. And we take that very much to heart with our discussions. We have a very civil discussion to explore the different aspects of these different topics each week.
I feel like one of the things that the discussion series has done that I've seen it do in its topics over the years is give context to difficult to understand topics. I remember, the Middle East. You can't just talk about the Middle East in 5 minutes and sum up a many decades long history of conflict. And I think that's one of the things that this series tries to do.
Absolutely true. And that's one of the reasons we do try to bring in invited speakers that are scholars that have spent their careers understanding the nuance of these types of topics. But then we also really try to engage the local community that's there for the discussions, because we have the ability to purchase booklets, no cost to us, or online even, and you can read the essays yourself. And then that way you come with some information to discuss and sit around and talk about these topics and explore those different facets of these complex issues of our day.
It's like a place to go where you get enough information you truly feel like you can make up your own mind.
Yeah.
And not have somebody else tell you how you feel about it or just those talking points. I absolutely love that about this.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons why the library, I think, has kind of become a good partner with this discussion series, because, long ago we've always been a great place to drop off. You said these kind of reference notebooks, and they are beefy. You said there are essays in there. What else is in those notebooks?
Well, first off, there are these 8 short essays that are written by some nationally renowned scholars about these different topics. They're about 8 to 10 pages with pictures. They're not too burdensome.
Not overwhelming.
They're very, very user-friendly, you could say. But we also do, every year, a series of national opinion surveys. At the end of each session, we're going to give out these surveys, and that collects the individual's information and thoughts on that topic, and we collate those. Every year, we send them off to New York. They do this nationwide for the thousands of these organizations all over the country, and they send reports to all of the policymakers and decision makers in Washington and elsewhere, trying to say this is the pulse of the country right now.
I didn't know that was an aspect of it.
I know, and based on an informed populace, too.
Exactly.
And well, we also kind of thought, okay, so we'll have these booklets at each of our libraries. They're at our reference branches. So if you want to read the essays before or after you go to the discussion, but we thought we've got lots of books that also talk about these topics as well. So one of our excellent helpers at the Orange Branch Library, Kate, has put together books to kind of further the discussion as well. And so we have the Great Decisions books to further the discussion. nonpartisan, and they're going to touch on every topic. We've got David McCullough, History Matters. We've got Jill Lepore's We the People, Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson's Abundance, and each of those are going to even take you. You've gotten, you've read the essay, you've had the hour-long conversation, and now you want to go even deeper.
Yeah.
We've got the way for you to do that.
And I just want to give a shout out to Kate at the Orange Branch. This list of readings for anyone that wants to dive into this is an absolutely incredible list. It is very diverse, lots of different perspectives, and some very profound reading on it. So I encourage everyone to go out and use those.
Yes. Okay, so we've talked about the what. Now, where are people going to go to join you for the discussion?
A wonderful question. This is the
one.
The bread and butter of it. So our live events start next Friday.
Yes.
March
6th.
Thank you. They meet at the William Street United Methodist Church. That's in downtown Delaware at the intersection of Franklin and William Streets from noon until 1 o'clock p.m.
A lunch break.
Every day. Yep. So we meet on Fridays. There are a couple days in March where we won't meet due to holidays, etc. But we basically run from early March to the beginning of May. And it is free to the public. Everyone is welcome to come. We have light refreshments. If anyone has any further need for information, we have a couple options. You can go to our Facebook page, which is Great Decisions of Delaware OH. You can email us at greatdecisionsofdelaware@gmail.com. And those are two wonderful ways to reach out if you want more information, but you're welcome to just walk in Friday a little bit before noon. Coming up this Friday.
Erinn, if my life has gotten, let's say, a little hectic, but I really want to know more about this and I didn't do any of the reading, should I still come to this, or is this really for those who've read?
That is a very good question, and absolutely come no matter what. Honestly, a lot of the people that come to our events don't have the opportunity or the time to read the booklets, the little essays, and that is perfectly fine. We approach this as if no one has read. So we want our speakers to talk. There are a couple weeks we're doing something a little different this year. Instead of a speaker, we'll have a video. That's produced by the Foreign Policy Association, and after which we'll have the discussion. But it really is open to people of all knowledge levels and all walks of life. We encourage everyone to come just for that meaningful discussion.
I love that because I do feel like I get really, really busy, and that just makes something... It just adds a little something to my week. And a lunch meeting. I love lunch meetings.
Exactly. We try to get it in and out so people can come and go back to work.
Do you bring your lunch, or is lunch provided?
We do not provide lunch. We have cookies and coffee and tea.
There you go.
But you're welcome to bring your lunch, too. We have some tables in the back of the room. We meet in the basement of the church. They're a volunteer space for us. We're not affiliated with them, but they're very generously given us the space for 4 decades. So bring your lunch. Be more than happy to.
So pack your lunch and come whether you've read it or not. You're all welcome.
Fridays at noon at William Street, UMC. So let's get into some of the topics that we're going to be talking about this year. What are some of the ones that you're looking forward to?
Well, wonderful. We do have some really exciting topics this year and some new topics this year. Some years it feels like the topics kind of repeat because history keeps going, but we do have some very cutting-edge topics this year. We're starting out this Friday, the 6th, with a title called Debating America's Global Role, America First versus Liberal Internationalism. So it's really an exploration of where does the U.S. stand in our relationship to the world. On that particular topic, we're going to go with a video and then a discussion. After that, though, we have topics on U.S. economic policy with tariffs. We have discussions of Ukraine and the future of European security, multilateral institutions in a changing world, the future of human rights, U.S.-China relations, engagement with Africa. And we end our series on May 8th with a discussion of the third nuclear age, the concerns over nuclear proliferation in the world. So.
It's going to be they're meaty discussions. They're big topics, but I think that it's going to help, kind of like you and Molly have both said, it's going to help you kind of walk away and help you learn a little bit so that you can think for yourself and you don't have to hear it from a pundit.
Yeah. I also hate getting into those conversations where people are using terms like, what do those terms really mean? You know, your first topic, what is really the definition from the sides who are saying, different things? I feel like I jump into assumptions based on vocabulary, not on actual substance.
And I will say with our series, we've made a very conscious effort to make sure this is accessible to everyone. We have everyone from age 20 up to age 95 attending our events. All different educational levels, all different life experiences, and they all come away saying this was very meaningful.
I love that. I love that so much.
You've got some great guests. So, and this is, again, to emphasize, it's the Foreign Policy Association, but then these are local clubs that are local organizations, clubs, kind of even like volunteer happy helpers.
Yes, we are 100% just a volunteer group of people that come out and do this just because we enjoy it.
Right. But you've got some great folks who are leading the discussions. Professors from Ohio Wesleyan, Ohio State, yourself from Western Governors are coming and speaking as well. How do you curate these speakers, the speaking list?
Well, many of these people have been repeat visitors for us. We have a pool that we often say, here's a topic, let's go ask this person if they want to come talk to us. And usually they're very generous with their time and say, yes, I love doing public outreach. But we're always looking for new speakers as well. So if anyone's out there listening and you would like to be part of our series and present, let us know.
And can you just give me, how much of it is discussion? Like if you could break down the hour in percentage, kind of what's the percentage of learning, talking, listening?
Okay, good question. We about 40 minutes, usually about 40 minutes of the speaker presenting, or 30 minutes if it's a video.
Yeah.
And then we have about 25 minutes of discussion where we take questions and answers from the people that are in attendance. Sometimes I'll lead with an initial question to get the ball rolling.
I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
I think so too.
Yeah. Erinn, thanks for joining us today and giving us the reminder that the Great Decision Series is back, and you can start attending it beginning next Friday, March 6th. At the William Street United Methodist Church.
All right, well, thank you to Nicole and Molly and Mark and everyone out there. We really look forward to seeing you next Friday.
Absolutely. We're going to talk a little bit about a couple events happening at the library this week. First of all, tonight and tomorrow, you do not want to miss out. Our friends are having a pop-up bargain book sale at the Delaware branch in the garage. That is tonight, Friday the 27th from 4 to 7, and tomorrow, the 28th from 9 to 2. Our shelves were overflowing too much, and so we need you to come and buy our books.
That is right.
Yeah.
We also have on Thursday, March 5th, a writing group coming up. So if you are out there looking for some support, 6:30 to 7:30 at the Orange branch, and that is going to be on Thursday, May 5th.
Yeah, the writing groups are coming back. That's always been really popular. I'm going to give a quick shout out to our friends at the Ohio Department of Commerce in the Securities Division. It is National Consumer Protection Week next week.
Ooh.
And so we have a visitor from the Ohio Department of Commerce who's going to be coming to the Delaware branch from 10 to 1 on March 4th. And he's just going to set up a table and answer your questions about how not to get scammed.
And you know what? With all this AI stuff, it's looking more and more real. I may be stopping by that booth.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really helpful. It actually is going to piggyback right on the either side of a story time. So, if it's not you getting scammed, it might be someone who you care for in your family or a loved one in your network.
I love that.
Yeah.
One last shout out, because we've had him on the radio before. Mark and Francine Butler is going to have a Camp Delaware screening and Q&A presented by the Community Arts Network. That's Wednesday, March 4th from 7 to 8 at our Liberty branch. So we're really excited about that again.
Well, it has been a wonderful half hour that we have just flown through. Thank you again, Erinn. Thank you, Molly. Thank you, Mark.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
Until next week, we'll see you in the stacks.